but they
they
see
see
it.
it.
And you know what? So many people, like I'll meet them in an event and they're like, oh, I saw this. I'm like, I don't even know who the fuck you are. Like you never commented or,
Yeah.
reach out to me. But there's so many people that see it, they don't think. But you got to be patient and you can't, you can't just give up if something doesn't, it takes time. Instant gratification is never going to happen.
Welcome, my fellow Flow Masters, to another episode of the Cash Flow Authority podcast. I'm your host, Chris Jansen, founder of the Flow Authority, and this show is for high-performing professionals who did everything right. You've got the career, the degree, the income, but you just feel like there's another level waiting. And here we explore how real estate can become that next challenge worth building so you can take ownership of your future and create a life by design. So today we're joined by an amazing guest, Mr. Abraham Gray. And Abraham has got a great story. Love it. Looking forward to getting into it. He's an Atlanta-based entrepreneur. He's a real estate investor. He's a lender. Built a diverse portfolio, martial arts gyms, axe throwing venues, and is also active in real estate and operates a lending business. So for fix and flip projects. So excited to have you here today, Abraham, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Awesome.
You bet. So entrepreneur, real estate investor, lender, lots of different things. Maybe just give us a little background on, how you got to where you're at today.
Yeah, so I started my first business when I was 15, selling sports cards because I collected them my whole life. And from there, did that for a while and eventually got into other stuff. And in my early 20s, someone said, you're making a lot of money. You have a lot of money. You need to diversify, get in some real estate. There's some tax savings. There's some appreciation, long-term, wealth building there. So I started buying some property and did some rentals, then ended up doing some fix and flips and kept buying more businesses, kept starting new businesses, kept doing more real estate. Eventually, I started lending some money to some of my friends that wanted to do it and then grew that into a big business as well. So currently I'm buying about 200 properties a year that I'm fix and flipping. I have $40 million of my money and like investors' money out in loans for other people that are doing fix and flips, and have a few dozen businesses. It really all kinds of different types of businesses. I have, like you said, a lot of entertainment, axe throwing, bowling, putt-putt golf, arts and crafts studios, escape rooms. Wow. I have a lot of gyms, martial art gyms, CrossFit gyms, kickboxing. Then I have trophy stores. I have tree cutting services. I have cleaning companies, all kinds of different things. So as I see something that makes sense, I just jump on it.
Do you sleep or
yeah?
How do you do all this? How do you find the time to do all this?
Good help. No, a lot of good help. So I have partners in 90% of my businesses, and most of my partners are the operating partner. And then I have just really good managers in place in the businesses that my partner doesn't run the business, but I have just a lot of good help. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. Okay. So in the real estate side, it's more on the fix and flips. It sounds like that's kind of your.
Yeah, I have a lot of rentals as well. So I have over 200 and something rentals, and I'm more aggressive right now with fix and flips because that's where the fast money is. But over the years, again, since 1998, that's when I bought my first property. I've just been accumulating properties ever since then. So for 28, 29 years, I've been buying properties, and I sell some of them, but a lot of them I keep, and I have like over 200 and something that I rent out. But I probably add a dozen or so to my portfolio every year. But I have a couple hundred fix and flips. So that's where most of my time is spent.
Okay. And are you pretty actively involved in that, or, finding the deal and figuring out the repair costs, like all the numbers and stuff like that? Or
I'm pretty active in finding the deals, although I do have somebody in my office that underwrites them all and, kind of takes it over but my name is very big and I have my email and everything. So a lot of people send me deals. So I'm the first person that gets the deals, but most of the time I'll just send them to my partners in the office and they'll kind of see what makes sense. And then I'll double check them. And that's how we end up buying them. But I'm not like super involved in everything, but I like to be enough involved in, it makes a lot of money. So I want to be somewhat involved to make sure everything's going right. And I'm using all my own cash to buy every property. I never get loans on anything that I buy. Every property I own free and clear. So, yeah, I just make sure that they're all good deals and that, they make sense.
Wow. Even the long-term rentals, you buy free and clear?
So I either buy them free and clear or I buy them on a creative type deal. So I
Yeah.
buy a lot of owner finance deals and I buy a lot of subject to deals where the mortgage stays in place.
Yeah.
But I'm never paying cash for a deal. Yeah, I'm never really getting loans on deals
Yeah.
like right off the bat usually. Now, some of the properties that I've owned for a long time that I own free and clear for a long time, I've went ahead and got like new loans on them and just cash out loans on them just because I use so much money for loaning out to other people that the interest rate I could get on the free and clear properties are less than half of what I could loan the money out at. So I've been over time getting a little bit more loans on some of the stuff. But yeah, for the most part, up until 5-6 years ago when I really blew up the lending business, I didn't really have loans on almost anything.
Yeah. So for the lending business, are you nationwide? Are you just focused on
Just
Atlanta
focus, yeah.
area pretty much?
I focus just on Georgia. So I'm loaning just in Georgia, and I have always 150, 170 loans out just in Georgia. I would say 90 some percent of them are in the Atlanta market, but I'll loan other places in Georgia too. Mainly because I know all the laws and I know everything about Georgia really well. And it's very fast to foreclose. If someone doesn't pay me, I take the property back pretty fast. It's 30 days. If someone doesn't pay me, I get the property back in 30 days here. Some states, there's other states that are 30 days. Some are 60, 90, some are forever. So I don't want to start learning the laws everywhere. And there's also like different laws as how much you're allowed to charge people, like interest wise and different things like that. Georgia is pretty wide open. So I've seen people get in trouble in some other states where it's really low. And also because I do so many fix and flips here and I want to buy as much stuff as possible, if someone doesn't pay me, I don't even care because I just take the property over and I usually make more money, fix and flipping it myself. So I have a whole network of people that could do anything here in Georgia or in Atlanta in particular. So yeah, I don't want to start going other places and learning all the markets and not knowing what to do if someone doesn't pay me and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. And have you had to do that often or
Yeah,
how many
I
times
wouldn't
have
say,
you
I would,
Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't say often, but let's say I have 150 loans out all the time. I probably foreclose on one property every 3 or 4 months. So that's not much for the amount of loans I have out, but I start the foreclosure process almost every month on somebody, but they almost always pay me before it comes to the end of the 30 days. So I don't really have to foreclose on that many, but if someone doesn't pay on time, I have about 25% of my own money in these loans and 75% are other investors' money. And I'm paying them every single month, regardless, if people are paying me on time or not. So I don't want to just keep paying people and not getting paid. So I'm pretty aggressive with foreclosing if somebody like is BSing me or the story doesn't make sense or I don't think they're going to pay or something.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. So how did you start to like scale all these businesses? I mean, when you say your story, it's just, there's so many pieces and so many things flying around your mind, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
I guess, I don't know. Walk me through that. How do you get
okay?
focused?
So going back to the beginning, my first business when I was 15, that was sports cards. And I did that for about 8 years. And toward the end, the reason why I got out of sports cards back then was because something else became really popular at these baseball card shows I used to do called Beanie Babies. And one day I just saw people set up with Beanie Babies and selling all these stuffed animals. And before I knew it, they were busier than any baseball card dealer. So I went over to the booth. These all, like middle-aged women selling Beanie Babies. I'm like, how do you get them? Why are people paying so much for them? Why are you so busy? I started learning about it. And they were just very hard to get. Especially in 1997, that's when I really got into it big. They sold out in stores instantly. The crappiest ones were worth double what retail is. The good ones were worth 10 to 20 times what retail was. So what I did was I started making a list of every single store that sold Beanie Babies in an hour radius of Atlanta. And every day I would call them, did you get your shipment? Did you get your shipment? And I would go there right away. A lot of them had limits of 2 per person or 3 per person, whatever it was. So I would just hire a whole bunch of people to come with me and every person would buy, the limit. And literally I was paying $5 or $6 for these things, selling them $15-20. Like as soon as I got them, it was like crazy. It was like printing money. And eventually I was able to make more money on Beanie Babies and sports cards. So I sold all my sports cards and just went into Beanie Babies full time. And so I was in Beanie Babies from 1997 through the early 2000s, probably a good 6 years. And when Beanie Babies started to die down, the next hot thing came along. And for the first 15 years of my life, all I did was whatever was hot at the time, that's what I got into. even when I was selling baseball cards, every single Christmas time, something became popular, whether it was Pogs or whether it was, Pokemon or whether it was Magic the Gathering or whether it was all kinds of different video games and all different types of Power Rangers and whatever it was at the time. There was always something hot every single year. And I got into that every single year. So I'd always make as much money as I can really fast, and then it would die. And that's just kind of what I did for the first 15 years of my businesses. And then eventually I got into some other businesses that became longer term type businesses. But after Beanie Babies, I left and I actually moved to Vegas for a couple years and played poker full time. So I was a really good poker player. I made lots of final tables. I was ranked really high. I still to this day in the WPT events, which are all the events that are on the travel station back then, I was like the highest cashing percent person of all time that I played, $10,000 or higher events. But I did that for a couple years, kind of got burnt out because it became more of a job than fun after a while. And Webkins became really popular, which are very similar to Beanie Babies, but years later. And a few friends of mine were like, you know what, these things, just like Beanie Babies came out, they're called Webkins. You should come back, get into that. You could make a ton of money in those, just like Beanie Babies. So I left Vegas, went back to Atlanta. All my connections were still there. Most of them that had Beanie Babies had Webkins. So I got into Webkins, sold those, another hot fad. Then after Webkins, a friend of mine called me and they're like, man, gold is going crazy. I was like, what do you mean gold's going crazy? I don't know anything about jewelry. I don't even own any jewelry. They're like, yeah, it was $300 an ounce last year. Now it's $600 an ounce. And it keeps going up like every single day, every single month. I'm like, okay, so how does that help me? Like, you don't understand. I just started putting ads out and telling people to come to these hotel events and I would just buy their gold. And they're selling it to me for 20, 30 cents on the dollar. And I could sell it the next day and triple. And it's big dollars. So I was like, okay, well, let me come over there and see what you're doing. So I went and visited him. And I was like, holy crap, there were like lines of people coming to sell their gold and diamonds and watches and coins and all this stuff. So that was the next business I got into. I learned it very well. And that was the business I made the most money on, actually. And I started that business in 2007. And I went all the way to about 2013 or so. So I had that almost 6-7 years as well. And I made crazy amounts of money, me and my partner, in that time. And then after that, I kind of took a little time off and got into more businesses that are long time type businesses. That was my last like kind of fad business because gold was crazy for a while. It got all the way from when I started $600-700 an ounce all the way to almost $1,900 an ounce in 2011. And then kind of just started going back down. And now gold's crazy again. So all my friends that were in gold are telling me how much money they're making. And I'm not in it anymore, but I'm doing other stuff. Yeah. But yeah, now gold's like crazy again, the highest it's ever been. So that's how it progressed. So I made my first $1 million that I was able to save in my bank account by the time I was 19 off sports cards. And then through Beanie Babies, I was able to make my first $10 million. And then in gold, me and my partner together, we made over $100 million in profit in that 6-year period. So, and then since then, I just have been doing tons of other businesses. They make millions and millions of dollars a year, tens of millions of dollars over the course of time. And I just keep doing that. Real estate's really good. I'm buying at least 15 properties a month. They're making on average, 30-some thousand, 35,000 a month. And then my lending, makes more than that even. And yeah, I still have tons of rentals that, have money coming in, and I have lots of other businesses. A lot of the businesses I have now, businesses used to be where I made the most money, but since COVID, businesses have died down a lot. The ones I have, a lot of them are entertainment based and gym based, and a lot of them just never came back to what they were. Like they were killing it in 2018, 19. 2020, most of them went to shit. They started rebounding some. They make a little bit of money, but nothing like they were. So I just started focusing more on real estate because real estate became really hot. Mm-hmm. And throughout my life, when business is really good, I pound away and do as much business as possible. When real estate gets really hot, I kind of put brakes on some business stuff and just do tons of real estate. And the last 4 or 5 years, real estate's been a lot hotter for me than the businesses I've had. So I just kind of switch. But at any given point, I can switch back and forth.
Okay. So, a lot of the businesses you started, the sports cars, the Beanie Babies, all these things, you're like, you're getting paid to buy low, sell high, the gold, the real estate, obviously you're fixing them up, but does that take like a special gift, to have to be able to find that and know how to do that? Because I mean, there's so many people I'm a coach, right? There's so many people I talk to who, and I don't feel like I'm even, great at doing that, but I just keep pounding the pavement until I find a deal. But I mean, you're talking hundreds of deals. So like, does that take a special gift, or is there a little, like, how do you get over the mindset barriers and just go out there and get the deal?
Once you do a deal, I think it's hard if you've never done a deal. But once you do a deal, you're like, oh shit, I could actually do a deal. And then if I could do one deal, I could do multiple deals. Yeah. But I think the key thing is you got to be quick. You got to be able to make quick decisions. And you got to be able to know that your decisions are right. So I think most people, 90-some% of people just can't make a quick decision. I think that kills them. So if I if I couldn't make a decision, like split decision on something fast, I would lose all the best deals because somebody else would take them first. So I'm also very quick to be in every single type of board. Like when I was doing sports cards, there were different boards that people put, buys and sells and stuff like that. I would always see the stuff that people would sell instantly. If it was a good deal, I'd buy it before anyone else got to see it. You're not going to get a good deal if something's been up for hours or days. Someone's going to buy it first. So if you're not quick, you're not the first one to see everything, you got to be aggressive. You got to really want it. And I always wanted to be the first one. I was always quick and I was able to be very decisive, very fast. So I think those are the most important things with anything. And then, of course, just learning from someone that's done it, if you can't figure it out on your own, to copy what they're doing right. Yeah. Those are the things.
Nice. Do you have a favorite way of sourcing deals, or are you just, I feel like when you get this as large as you are, you probably get deal flow from all sorts of directions.
Yeah. If you were with me throughout the day, I get hundreds and hundreds of emails throughout the day, and it's all people sending me deals to buy or deals to fund. And I could look at them and within a few seconds and tell the ones that are total shit and the ones that are worth looking at. Yeah. So my favorite way to buy properties would be from wholesalers. Those are people that go out and, go direct to sellers that are either usually in a situation where they're pretty motivated, where they need to sell because they're about to get foreclosed on, they get divorced, they tired landlords, they need a move, and whatever it is. So there's lots of people that call these people all day long and just bug the shit out of them, and then they lock up deals. And I buy most of my deals from those people that do it. I don't call directly, but I buy off all the people that do. So that's my favorite way because it costs no money. Anyone can do it for free. And if you do it correctly, you can get crazy deal flow and just pick the ones that make the most sense.
Sure. I bought off wholesalers before, but there's a lot of people out there.
99.9% are total shit deals. That's the thing. But that's the thing. Yes. You've got to be patient. Yeah. You got to get enough people to send you stuff to where you get such a big deal flow that you just know that these people are just total shit and don't look at the bad ones. Mm-hmm. But I look at 100+ deals to get one good one for sure. There's no question. For sure. So it's not like easy. Like you're going to get wholesalers to send you shit and they're good, but you also got to know how to negotiate them. And you got to, there's a lot of involved, but you got to know how to get tons of people sending you deals. It's a numbers game. Game. I get most of my wholesalers sending me deals because I join every Facebook group that exists in the cities that I want to buy in. Mm-hmm. I'm in 50 plus, maybe 100 Facebook groups in Atlanta and for real estate. And every single person that posts something, I put my email address in the comments, and I post stuff every week. Like, I'm looking to buy this. I'm looking to do this. I'm looking to do that. But more importantly, every single person that posts something in these groups, there's hundreds and hundreds of posts every day. Mm-hmm. I make sure that I comment in every single post. So not really for that person to send me deals, but because when you put your comments in, every single person sees those comments. So like wholesalers just go to every board and look at every single person that puts comments, and you get added to all these lists. So I'm added to 1,000 lists probably. And just because I put a comment in somebody else's and they saw it and copied it, whatever. So of course, going to local meetups is really big. I do multiple local meetups every single month in Atlanta, and I meet tons of people that I borrow money from, I loan money to, I buy properties from, I sell properties to, because I don't rehab every single one that I buy. That's too many. I probably rehab about 30%. The other 70% I just sell to other investors. So I meet tons of people that also want to buy and people that want to sell. So you got to put your name out there. You got to post a lot. I think if you don't post a lot on social media, you screw yourself really bad. A lot of people just sell me shit because they see me post a lot. I have people come to me, they're like, you know what? you offered me 120,000. I got an offer for 125, but I want to sell it to you because I seen your post, or I know you're legitimate. I know you're going to close, or whatever it is. So posting is really important. You got to let people know what you do.
Yeah. Man, with the posting, it's this weird thing because it's just like the ether. It's just, you're throwing shit out there, and it takes a long time to really let things actually build up. And like, as you're doing it, feel like you're fucking just wasting your time, and you're just wasting 100%. Your energy. But like you said, dude, you gotta be patient, and it does build, and people see it. Like I don't have like this massive following like you have, but I see people, and they're like, I see old friends who are like, oh dude, I love what you're doing with real estate. I love what you're doing with health coaching or real estate, all the things I'm doing because I post about it. And they never like my shit. They never comment on my stuff, but they see it.
But they see it. And you know what? So many people, like, I'll meet them in an event and they're like, oh, I saw this. I'm like, I don't even know who the fuck you are. Like, you never commented or, reach out to me. But there's so many people that see it, they don't think. But you got to be patient, and you can't just give up if something doesn't. It takes time. Instant gratification is never going to happen. You're not going to post shit and then all of a sudden make all this money. And that's why everyone quits, because they're like, oh, I posted for a week. I posted for a month. I didn't get any deals. They quit.
Yeah.
Great. Mm-hmm. Now that's why I get all the deals, because I don't quit. I just keep doing it over and over. And I know it's a long-term game.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So you mentioned subject to, and I don't know, maybe you have a number roughly how many deals you do that way, because it's a hot topic. A lot of people are really excited about it, but then a lot of people are nervous about it because of the due on sale. And I actually had another guest on, I won't say his name, but I had another guest on who after the show was like really warning me about subject to, because I did like one deal that way. And he was like, oh, all the banks are coming down now on people left and right. Like a third of the deals.
The guy's full of shit. I mean, do they come down on people every so often? First off, I own about 100 subject twos at least. And I've owned some for over a decade. You know how many due on sale clauses have come due?
Probably zero.
Yeah, zero.
Yeah.
In 10 years, over 100. And I've actually owned more than that because I've bought some and sold some. The odds of it happening is very slim. Okay. There are reasons why they get called due. And if they get called due, I could 100% even get them to uncall them. But as long as you're making payments on time, your insurance is caught up to date, you're really not going to have problems 99% of the time. I mean, there's a few weird banks or something like that might be a little bit more picky about it. But if you're paying and your insurance is caught up, they don't want to foreclose. They don't care.
What's the right way to insure it? Because the deal I did, I had 3 different insurance guys telling me 3 different things, but I basically ended up keeping the seller's policy in place in their name. And so everything was fine and dandy there. It's like the bank didn't even see anything change. And then I had my policy.
Okay, so there's 2 ways to do it. You could do what you did. That costs more money, so I wouldn't suggest that. But if you don't know better, that's fine. So what you do is you have 2 policies, one in your name and one in the person's name that's actually on the mortgage. That's one way to do it. The better way to do it is to get a policy and have the mortgage company on there as a loss payee, as the lender, and then have you on there as a beneficiary, and then the person that's on the mortgage as a secondary person. So your name and the person's name is on the mortgage are both on the insurance policy with the bank. And that's how I do all of mine. So I'm only paying one insurance policy, and I've never had an issue whatsoever.
Okay. Good.
But there are a lot of people that want to scare you. There's a lot of people that will be like, oh, don't do it. And you know what? Those people, I guarantee you, they never had one called on them. You know, they just hear stories, and some people are just want to cause like havoc, or cause scares, make people scared.
Yeah.
But do I hear some getting called due? 100%. I know people personally that have had some call due. So it does happen, but they did shit wrong and they didn't know how to. And most of the ones that got the due on sale called, most of them were able to talk to the bank and get them to not basically foreclose and be able to keep the policy. So even if they get called due, there's a very likely chance, more than not, that they'll dismiss it. But it's very rare that they actually call due and go through with it. It does happen once in a while, but it's super rare.
I mean, I would imagine the bank would rather not foreclose.
No, it's not good for them.
Yeah. Maybe there's situations, I guess it depends though. I mean, if you got a ton of equity, if they're going to.
It doesn't matter. They don't get the equity. It goes to an auction. And they only get what they're owed. The equity goes to the second position, goes to the third position, then goes back to the owner. The owner gets the extra money. The bank doesn't keep the money.
Okay. And when you lend money, do you lend on second position loans ever?
I pretty much just lend on first position.
Yeah.
Second position is a whole nother story. Do I lend on second position? I mean, there are rare circumstances where I do, but I have to like know the person really well, or they have to have a just stupid amount of equity. But it's very risky. Even if everything is good, there's a lot of things about second position that you can get totally wiped out, even if you did everything right.
Yeah.
So it's better not to, unless you really know what you're doing or really know the person. But the short answer is I do once in a while, but I try not to.
Okay.
Put it this way. You asked me earlier of all the loans that I do.
Yeah.
And again, 99.9% are all first. How often do I have to foreclose? Well, I foreclose one time every 3-4 months on 150 that are currently going. So out of 500 loans, I'm foreclosing one time, right? If I, out of the 40 or 50 second position loans I've done, I probably had to foreclose on 20 of them. Like it's a crazy percent, like 30-40% of my second positions I have to foreclose. In my first position, it's a fraction of 1%. Wow. So and then I've never lost money on anything I've foreclosed on in first position. I usually make a little bit extra money. Second position, you definitely lose money when foreclosing because there's all kinds of crazy shit that you have to account for that it's hard.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think you have to foreclose on more?
Well, first off, people that need second position loans are broke for the most part.
Yeah.
Or something's up, Yeah. So who's more likely to pay you or not pay you? Someone that's wealthy that you loan money to, or someone that's broke?
Yeah, I hear you.
So you're loaning to people that can't afford it to begin with. But secondly, here's the problem. If it's only a problem if they don't pay you, right? So if I have a second position loan and someone's not paying me, what does that mean? They're probably not paying the first position lender either, right? If they're not paying the second position, they're probably not paying the first. A good chance. So here's the problem. Let's say the property's worth, I'm just going to use easy numbers. Let's say the property's worth $100,000 and first position loan them $50,000. It's worth $100,000 and maybe you want to loan 70% of what it's worth. So there's $70,000 that you would loan in first position. So you're like, okay, well, there's $50,000 more equity. I would probably loan at least another 20 to get to 70%. So now in second position, you loan the person $20,000. You're pretty safe, right? Because it's worth $100,000. You're loaning 70% of what it's worth. You should be pretty safe.
Yeah.
The problem is the first position is not getting paid if you're not getting paid most of the time. Now you go to foreclose. You're a month, 2 months, some states maybe 6 months before you can foreclose. You have 5-6 months worth of interest that you haven't collected. You have late fees. You have attorney fees. You have all these different things. And guess what? If you have it, so does the first position person have it. So now the first position's owed $50,000, but now they have a $5,000 attorney fee. They have another $15,000, $20,000 in late fees and penalties and extension fees and all kinds of other shit. Yeah. So now you thought they were owed 50, but before it's said and done, now they're owed 75,000. Yeah. Now you're still owed 20 plus another 5 or 10,000 in fees and your attorney fees, and everything else. So now you're at 110, which is the property's only worth 100.
Yeah.
If a property's worth 100 and you sell it, are you going to get 100 for it? No, you're probably going to get 80 or 90 if you're lucky. And then if you're selling for 80 or 90, you're still going to have some fees involved in selling it. So before you're done, maybe you get 70, 75,000 for it. But guess what? First position is owed 80 now because they have all these different fees that they didn't collect. So you're totally wiped out of all your equity.
Wow. Never thought that through. So yeah, thank you for explaining that. That's interesting. Have you bought at auction yourself?
I buy a lot at auctions every month. Yeah, I probably buy 40% of what I buy these days from auctions. Foreclosure auctions. I also go to tax lien auctions, but the foreclosure auctions are more fun because in every state's different. In Georgia, if you buy at a foreclosure auction, you own it instantly. That's your property. In a tax lien sale, there's a 12-month redemption in Georgia. So you don't technically own the property for at least 12 months. So, if someone redeems it, they have to pay you a high interest rate, which is good. But if they don't redeem it, in a year later, you can start the process to actually get it in your name and own it. So I do mostly foreclosures because I get to turn them a lot faster.
Nice. Well, before we wrap up, I'll ask one more question. Looking into the future, what type of businesses, business models, asset classes do you think are going to generate the best, strongest cash flow in the coming years?
Yeah, I think for sure, by far, the home services businesses are going to be the best. People are always needing plumbers, electricians, their floor done, painting, landscaping. So I think long term, that stuff's always going to be solid. And there's less and less people that know how to do a good job. So
Yeah.
if you can do good jobs, that's always going to be needed. And that's just something that's never going to run out. I mean, eventually AI and robots could do a lot of that stuff, but for the short term, that's going to be lasting longer, more important for people to need than any other thing, I think, overall. So when I do buy new businesses now, I'm focused mostly on home service stuff.
Okay. Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate your time. I know you're all over social media, and we'll include your links and everything in the show notes, but what's the best way people can get a hold of you?
Yeah. So besides just hitting me up on Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff, my email, I answer every email super fast. So my email is my name, Abraham, Abraham, and then and then it's 6 letters. It's MMA, like mixed martial arts, and then ATL, like Atlanta.com. So Abraham at MMAATL.com.
Nice.
And it doesn't matter what anything you need or have or want or questions, I answer them super fast.
Awesome. All right. Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate your time tonight and
for sure
for joining the show. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Cash Flow Authority podcast. We hope the insights shared today help you take the next step toward optimizing your finances and building sustainable wealth. If you enjoyed this conversation, please take a moment to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review. It helps other entrepreneurs and investors discover the show. And don't forget to catch the next episode for more insights. Until then, keep mastering your cash flow.